Hey, how's it going, you guys? My name is Demize, and we have a very exciting video today as it is Terraria's 8th birthday or anniversary or whatever you want to call it since its release on May 16th, 2011. And with this special day, the developers have released the first ever bit of official lore for Terraria. This is something that is really interesting as Terraria is a sandbox type of video game where there isn't really a clear storyline at all. So I was kind of concerned that if they tried to force a story on top of the game, it might not really work too well. But having read this first part of the lore, I think it actually turned out pretty good. Now before we go any further, I don't want to spoil it for you guys, so just pause the video and check out the link below or use the link in the top right corner and read the lore for yourself on the official Terraria forums or on the official Terraria Discord, and then once you finish reading, come back and watch the rest of this video to hear my thoughts. I'm just gonna wait a little longer to give you your last warning so you don't get mad at me because I gave you plenty of time to pause the video by now. And alright, here we go. On the first page, we are introduced to the world of Terraria and told that there exists an Order of the Guide that has maintained Terraria's history over countless generations, and that this knowledge will now be passed on to us in order to complete our quest to save the world. So this is pretty cool because it basically gives us an in-world explanation for why the guide NPC is so knowledgeable about pretty much everything in Terraria, and now he's even going to give us the backstory of how it all started. Apparently, the gods of Terraria use the Hallo, Corruption, and Crimson biomes as real-life manifestations of their power to maintain balance at any cost in the world of Terraria. The Crimson is described as a single living being or hive mind that many misguided people have worshipped and even made human sacrifices to, which is honestly super creepy and makes everything about the Crimson that much weirder and scarier given this new context. The Corruption, on the other hand, is described as the manifestation of sins and vile thoughts of all living things in Terraria, and grows stronger and stronger until the world is completely void of life, which, you know, in my professional opinion sounds equally as evil as the Crimson, if not more, and I'd give them both a big no thanks out of 10. Then we have the Hallo Biome, which is on the opposite end of evil, but equally as violent as it seeks to cure all possible threats in its way, regardless of what side you're on. And it also mentions here that every world has a guardian, which is in reference to the Wall of Flesh, of course, and once defeated, it releases the ancient spirits of light and dark to accelerate the process of finding a new guardian. Now here I'm not really sure if this is supposed to mean that you eventually become the world's new guardian, or if one of the Hallow's goal in spreading is to find a new living thing along the way that it takes over and then becomes the new guardian. Let me know what you think in the comments below, as I'm not really sure about this part. Next, we're told that Cthulhu is a creature that arrived long ago and that the ancient race of dryads, which have a special connection to the world around them, waged war with him and were the last hope against certain annihilation. They weren't able to beat him 100%, but they did cripple him by ripping out his eyes, parts of its skeleton, and chunks of its brain, which basically explains the origins of the pre-hard mode bosses in Terraria, who of course are the Eye of Cthulhu, Skeletron, and the Brain of Cthulhu. So that just leaves us with figuring out which body part the Eater of Worlds is. Maybe we'll save that one for another time. A long time after the Great War with Cthulhu, a lunatic cult came about seeking to restore Cthulhu's full original power. And one of the ways they tried to do this was by kidnapping a genius that turns out to be our mechanic NPC and forcing her to create mechanical simulacrums, which I just looked up that word and it basically means a poor imitation or substitute, which pretty much explains the origins of the hard mode mechanical bosses. But she didn't complete her work as the mechanical brain was not made yet, which again kinda gives us an in-world explanation for why we don't have a mechanical Brain of Cthulhu, I suppose. Although I do believe Senex has mentioned before that adding any more mechanical bosses would just be lazy in their eyes, as they're just souped up and resprited pre-hard mode bosses, so I wouldn't hold my breath for a mech version of the brain anytime soon. And then we have what I think is my favorite part, which explains that the old man and an entire city now known as the Dungeon fell under the possession of the cult as they were cursed to stay undead past the normal lifetimes as evil servants, which I suppose explains the skeleton and maybe even zombies in the world of Terraria. And of course, it ends by saying that it's now up to us to save Terraria. So yeah, like I said, I think that the lore so far just serves to enhance the story and gives us some more background information about the world that is Terraria, and I think they've done a pretty good job with it. Of course, let me know what you think in the comments below, and whether or not you like the idea of Terraria being given more of a story, even though it is an open world sandbox type of game. And I did want to quickly mention that I had an AMA yesterday on the official Terraria Discord server, so you can read that if you'd like, and also watch out for future AMAs on the server, as we should be getting some pretty cool people to stop by that you definitely don't want to miss out on. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and yeah, have a nice day.